I've read in the comments of a lot of videos. So the government suing Apple because they just too good. They just make better product. Yo, what's good? It's your boy Bike with another video. Today, I'm gonna be telling y'all why I don't with Apple. So I'm bringing this up simply because I get comments all the time saying that, you know, you may want to look into switching niches. And for those of you who are looking at this video for the first time, looking at my channel for the first time, I'm an Android guy. So I'm always reviewing Android tablets, specifically Samsung S8, S7. Always have like discussions talking about Android applications and stuff like that. So on one of my videos, shout out to Extra Hero. He commented on one of my videos. And it says, unless you're just intentionally trying to stick to a small niche, you should get an iPad Pro so you can speak to a larger audience of artists. Because I think you have what it takes, and right now you're just pigeonholing your talent for brand loyalty. And you don't owe Google that. Now, this was on the video why Android user is jumping ship to Apple after hearing this. Now, I'm not jumping to Apple. I never planned on. That was like a clickbait. You know, that was like a clickbait title. You know what I'm saying? But I do appreciate Extra Hero for commenting on the video, looking at the video and stuff like that. But it speaks to, I would say, a larger narrative that has been going on my channel. And that is, people look at the channel, they look at the content, they look at the quality of the content, and they're like, okay, wow, this guy only has 2,000 subscribers. This guy only has 1,000 subscribers or whatever. It looks like, from the quality of this guy's videos, it looks like he at least need to have 20K, you know what I'm saying? 20K, 30K, or whatever. So I get that a lot in the comments, and I appreciate y'all for commenting, telling me that. It's just a testament to the content, to the work that I've been putting in on this channel. So anyway, if this is your first time looking at it, you know, hit that subscribe button, trying to get these subscribers up. But the larger thing is, why don't I switch to Apple? Why don't I start making content for, for Apple, or making content of the iPad and things like that? Because that is where the majority of, I would say, the majority of the artists are, and majority of the people are, because they dominate the US market. Now, I replied, yeah, I may dip into that market a little bit, but I really don't like most things Apple does. And you know, that's all I replied. But recently, the United States government has filed a claim, or they're suing Apple. They're suing Apple for antitrust. Now, they're suing Apple for antitrust, and I don't want to sit up here and act like, oh, well, yeah, Samsung doesn't do any of this, and Google doesn't do any of this. You know, DOJ just got through suing Google, right? I'm on a Windows computer. They sued Windows in the 90s. Not Windows, but Microsoft in the 90s. So all companies are, I would guess, would be susceptible to this type of behavior, I would say. But Apple is just successful at it. But these are like some of the allegations that the United States government is suing Apple over. Blocking innovative super apps. Say Apple has disrupted the growth of apps with broad functionality that would make it easier for consumers to switch between competing smartphone platforms. Now, y'all may be saying this is an art channel. What are you talking about? Super apps and all of this. But I'm gonna get to it. So just rock with me for a little bit. Just rock with me. I'm gonna get there, but it's gonna take a little minute to get off the runway. So they're blocking the innovation of super apps. So if you don't know what a super app is basically like WeChat. Over in China, they use WeChat for payments. They use it like PayPal. It's a messaging app. It's a video app. It's a news app. Like it's a I think you can order food from the app. Like it's a super app. So if you have this application, there is no need for Apple Pay. There is no need for all of these other first-party applications that Apple makes. There's no use for it. And then also if you just use this one app for everything, it would be easier to switch from you really wouldn't be Apple, like quote unquote, like loyalists or stands. You would be WeChat stands. And not saying we would take on, or WeChat would be popular in the United States, because I listen to a lot of different podcasts on this topic, and they all say, well, it's in America, it's just different. It's not as popular. Blah 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 blah. We have the application is actually on the App Store. Yes, the application is on the App Store, but Apple has nerfed it. Apple has nerfed this app to the point, and those of y'all who don't know what nerf means, they basically sabotaged it. They basically watered this application down to where you don't get half of the functionality that you're supposed to get with this application. And this is, as I'm gonna read through this is gonna be like a common theme that you see with Apple, that is not Apple just being a better technology company. It's them sabotaging and watering down the competition to prop them up, to make it seem like they're like the best. So let's go on suppressing mobile cloud streaming services. That's the whole Epic versus Apple thing. Apple has blocked the development of cloud streaming services that would allow customers to enjoy high quality video games and other cloud-based applications without having to pay for expensive smartphone hardware. So essentially what this means is that if you are gaming and it's primarily through the cloud, the cloud is doing most of the processing power. So there is no need to have the 2 terabyte iPhone with the M2 chip or the M1 chip. There is no need for that. So then what do? You go to the cheapest iPhone, or you can go to Android and still play the same game with the same look for cheaper. And also we don't, some of the DOJs, because I listened to the actual press conference, and I'm gonna link it down below. But a lot of their argument is also based off of, we don't know what is gonna come out of mobile gaming or mobile cloud streaming services. Maybe some of the heavy applications that we use today is gonna be cloud-based. Now, if it's cloud-based, like I say, that changes the game. You don't have to buy the high-end phone. And so this is one way, by blocking this is one way to keep your dominance up. But you're not doing it because of your technology is just better. You dig what I'm saying? And so just like for example, the DOJ sued Microsoft back in the 90s, right? They sued them back in the 90s. And what this did was this opened the door for QuickTime. What is QuickTime? QuickTime is owned by Apple, right? So you get used to QuickTime. You're like, okay, this Apple application is, it's pretty good. I like it. Then Apple comes out with iTunes alongside the iPod. You're like, oh, that's that company that I like. You buy their product, you use their applications, iPhone comes out. I'm like, oh, wow. iPhone, whoa, yeah, this company is great. Also, that lawsuit opened the door for browsers, different browsers that we see today, the innovation of browsers. Like now we have different plugins that we can do inside of our browser, like ad blocking. I know I use a lot of them for YouTube, just looking at different metrics, looking at different numbers. There's a multitude of plugins that you can use in your browser. If Microsoft had its way, there would be none of that. We would still be on Windows Explorer. We would still be in 1998. And so that is almost like a premise of the DOJ's argument. And I understand, because you do not know where technology is going to lead us. You don't know how things are going to be innovated, how things are going to be used to better society. So the best metric that we have is to, when we see a company that is pigeonholing third-party applications, third-party products, we're like, okay, wait a minute. You're stopping innovation. I don't know if this company is going to be the one that innovates and going to be the one that changes, but I know that you are stopping it. You're potentially stopping future companies from doing this. And we know this because we've seen it in the past. And then excluding cross-platform messaging applications. Apple has made the quality of cross-platform messaging worse, less innovative, and less secure for users. So that its customers have to keep buying iPhones. Now, what this one is talking about is basically the green bubble, blue bubble. If y'all not from the United States, this is kind of like almost like a foreign concept. But here in the United States, we don't use WhatsApp and other third-party messaging app. We use our default messaging app. And so when you message a person who has an iPhone, because they have iMessage, it pops up as a green bubble. And when it pops up, not only pops up that as a green bubble, if you send text, videos, not text, but if you send videos, those videos are degraded, are just horrible, degraded. I remember, I have a story. I remember it was my uncle's birthday. We was all having a celebration, and they wanted me to say something, just do a little video and to say something. We all said something, and we was gonna play it at the birthday party, right? And so I shot mine, and at the time I think I had the Essential phone, and this phone shot 4K. This phone shot 4K. I shot it in 4K. I'm filming it. It's looking crispy. Like it's looking crispy on my phone. It's looking crispy. And I sent it to my cousin. My cousin, he has an iPhone. Now at the time, I didn't really think nothing of it, because I'm not knowing the blue bubble, green bubble debacle that's going on and all of that. So anyway, I get to the party and it gets time for us to show the videos off and things like that. And it got to my video, and I kid you not, this 4K video had been stripped stripped of 4K, stripped of 1080p, stripped of 720p, stripped of 420p. This thing was looking like Atari graphics. The video was looking like Atari graphics. It was pixelated and all that. And I'm sitting up there, I'm like, why is my video like this? I'm just sitting up, I'm like, why is my video looking like this? Now, it wasn't until years later that I've understood that Apple downgrades Android's videos and pictures and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, okay. But it has something to do with the RCS or the SMS and the system that iMessage use. I've heard arguments that, you know, Google is over the RCS, like secure, I guess the RCS secure line or something like that. I mean, the RCS encryption, and they want Apple to pay a encryption fee, and Apple is like, no, we're not gonna pay an encryption fee, blah 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 blah, this and that. And that was their like whole argument as to why the differences is. And my thing is so yeah, RCS is a Google thing, and yeah, you may have to pay a fee to get it encrypted because y'all are using y'all are Apple users, y'all are using a different system, number one. Number two, y'all won't let nobody see the system that y'all working on or that y'all have. Y'all won't let nobody look into it, and I think they call it an API or something like that. Y'all won't let nobody get the system and make applications and make it compatible with it. So yeah, Google had to spend their own money securing the RCS, and yeah, they want a fee. I don't. And the person I was watching was kind of like to me, it was biased towards Apple, but they was saying, they was excusing the messaging thing, and things like that. But then you say, okay, we're not gonna pay to have y'all messages end to end secure, so we're just not gonna secure them at all. So just know that when a Android person sends you, an Apple user, a message, it is unsecure. And Apple prides themselves on security, but yet you won't pay the fee to have the messages secure, because Android not going nowhere. And that's another big thing with a lot of people as far as them switching to Android is the iMessage. And also it gives the illusion, once again, it gives the illusion that if you're receiving these messages from Android and they're looking all pixely and Nintendo graphics, Atari graphics, why would you want to go switch to that? You wouldn't. So in your head, you're thinking, I got the superior product. Look at these pictures. Look at these videos. I got the superior product. And it's so bad that it became a meme. Like whenever you see like a blurry picture or a blurry video, people say, oh, you shot that on an Android. Like you shot that on an Android. It's cultural now. And I've heard several women speak about they won't even date a guy if on text messages it shows up as a green bubble. They won't even date a guy because the perception of an Android user is that an Android user is broke. a Android user is cheap, because why don't you get the best product, which is iPhone? Why don't you get that? It's the best product out. You can't afford it. So this whole thing, I don't know, is not relevant, but is relevant. It has caused like this whole cultural like phenomenon to where a lot of iPhone users look down on Android users, and they look down on them like, you can't afford that, you cheap, you broke. And once again, it's amazing. I would say it's diabolically ingenious. Now, I know when they first introduced the green bubble, blue bubble, they didn't think it was going to take on like this, but it has taken on a whole life of its own. And this perception of Apple being this just so superior has trickled down into society, to where now you have a lot of women saying that they're not gonna date a guy that has a Android. And it's all based on a lie. You know, I was trying to, me and my cousin, we was talking about this, and I was trying to explain to him, kind of like in simplistic terms, what Apple essentially was doing. And I came about this example. So the example is you're going to a party, right? You got your fresh fit on, whatever, blase. You got on, we'll just say you got on some, I don't know, say you got on some Jordans, right? Patent leather Jordans, right? You fresh, everything is coordinating, right? So you knock on the door to come in, and the host of the party says, you can't wear those shoes in here. And you're like, huh? Yeah, you can't wear those shoes in here. And you're like, why not? I can't. What you mean I can't wear these shoes in here? Now the party jumping. Everybody in there. You're like, okay. So yeah, just take your shoes off, and here goes some shacks. They give you some shack attacks, right? It's like, yeah, you gonna have to wear this. Now, these shoes don't even match with your outfit. They look cheap, right? Meanwhile, the host got on some Yeezys. The host got on some Yeezys. You look around, somebody else got some J's. You like, well, dang, this person got J's, you got on Yeezys. Why I gotta wear the shack attacks? Right? Why I gotta wear that? So anyway, the party jumping though, so you put on the shack attacks and you go on in the party. And so you go on in the party, you try to mingle, you try to talk to people, whatever, and the people are judging you because you got on shack attacks. You try to go over here, you try to holler at a little chick or whatever. She looking at you up and down. She looking at your shoes like, ugh, why you got them on? Right? So she judging you for having the shack attacks. But remember, you came in with Jordans. So now you're carrying the stigma of people who wear shack attacks, right? And not the stigma of people wearing Jordans or the expensive shoes. This is what Apple is doing. They're telling developers, third-party manufacturers, that you can't come in this app store with J's on. Although this app got J's on, that app got Yeezys on. You can't come in here with that. And when you try to point out, hey, look at this app, this application doing that, this product doing that, it don't matter. You ain't finna come in here with no J's on. So that is essentially what Apple is doing, right? They're making some of the developers, some of the third party product people wear shack attacks into the party, and then they're being judged because they wearing shack attacks. It's like, well dang, I got. So that's, in a nutshell, that is what Apple essentially is doing. Now, I'm gonna ask you. Well, I ain't even gonna ask you. I'm gonna tell you that that's not you being superior or That's not you being just better than everybody. That's you sabotaging. That's you sabotaging things and making it look like you're better. So let's go on. Another one is diminishing the functionality of non-Apple smartwatches. Apple has limited the functionality of third-party smartwatches so that users who purchase the Apple Watch face substantial out-of-pocket costs if they do not keep buying iPhones. Now, what they're talking about right here is if you have a third-party watch, and I think I have a watch, hold on. I don't know what a watch is. But if you have a third-party watch and you want to pair it with Apple, what Apple is doing is they are not allowing some features, and specifically one feature that I know is the text back. So on the Apple Watch, if you receive a text, you can simply text back on the Apple Watch. Third-party watches can't do that. But here's the thing, why can't they do that? Because the technology is there. The tech is there. You want to know why they can't do it? Because Apple is not allowing access into their software to make that happen. And like I said before, this is a theme with Apple. They're not creating just tech that is just so much advanced than everybody else. They're creating tech, you know, it may be a little bit more advanced, but then they got the third parties and they sabotaging the third parties. They're not giving them access. And it's artificially making it seem like, oh, the Apple Watch is just so much better. Apple tech is just so much better. I don't like that. I don't like that as a, I don't know. It just, that type of philosophy, that type of, that just doesn't stand well with me, right? And then also, well, let me get to the last one. The last one is limiting third-party digital wallets. Apple has prevented third-party apps from offering tap-to-pay functionality, inhibiting the creation of cross-platform third-party digital wallets. Now, what they're talking about is you have to use Apple's proprietary wallet to use tap to pay. Like Chase Bank can't make a wallet and use tap to pay on the phone. They don't have, Apple is not giving them access to that at all. And so what it's doing is limiting competition. A lot of the fees, a lot of the features that you see on I don't know what you call it, Apple Wallet or whatever, it's kind of locked in. They're not forced to change anything because they don't have any competition. And they don't have any competition because they're booby trapping all of the third party applications that want to create for this Apple platform. Now, all in all, let me sum this together. This is the reason as to why I do not with Apple. All of these reasons right here. And also, all of these reasons right here contribute to the ecosystem. You hear a lot of Apple users talking about the ecosystem or the walled garden. Like, oh man, it's just my watch works so perfectly well with my phone, and my phone works so perfectly well with my HomePod, and my HomePod works so perfectly well with my Apple Tag or whatever that thing is called. Right? Everything works well together, and that's great and that's good. But what you cannot do is you cannot booby trap a third party developer. You cannot booby trap them and say, okay, no, you can't have access to this software. You can't have access to this particular thing right here. Well, why can't we have access? Oh, because we want a competitive advantage. It's like, huh? When you have, and here's another thing, like when you have a platform like that, You have to make sure that you're giving third-party applications a fair shot at competing. You have to. And I know there's gonna be a lot of Apple stands. Oh, I've read in the comments of a lot of videos. So the government suing Apple because they just too good. They just make better product. No, no, that's not why they're suing them. They're suing them because Apple is booby trapping other people. And I was speaking to my cousin because he's like all in. He's like Apple this, Apple that, Apple this, Apple that, Apple this, Apple that. And I spoke to him like maybe like a year ago or something like that. He said, you know what? I kind of want to switch over and just see what it's like. I kind of want to, switch over to Android and just see what it's like. He said, but every single thing I bought, I don't want to say everything, but most of the peripherals that he bought would either cease to work or it would be just like a dummy version of itself. And that is the ecosystem. The ecosystem punishes you hard for leaving. Sometimes you don't get text messages. A lot of people just have to switch numbers because after switching, they never receive text messages again. You got all of that money that you invested in. So now you're financially invested in all of these products and they don't even work right. The Apple Watch not gonna work right? Your earpods, whatever they call, I don't know the name of y'all stuff, but the earpods or whatever, they work with Android, but guess what? To get a firmware update, guess what you gotta have? An iPhone. So you're limited on the firmware that you can get with it. So they just really dumb down every single thing when it comes down to like third-party applications. Apple is very anti-competition. Now, this being anti-competition, just listen up. If Apple users, if y'all still listening to this, I know y'all big clicked off. But Apple users, if y'all are still listening to this, having an anti-competitive philosophy is bad for you. It's bad for you. You know why it's bad for you? Because Apple can charge whatever they want to charge, a ridiculous amount. Apple can take away whatever feature they want to take away, and you ain't gonna do nothing about it. You can't do because you're stuck. Ain't no competition on that side. See, the thing about Android is, if Samsung does something that I don't like, which they have in the past, guess what I can do? I can switch to Google Pixel. I can switch to, I know they're banned, but I can switch to Huawei. Like, I could switch to the OnePlus. Like there are multiple phones in the Android market that I can switch to if Samsung does something that I don't like. If the Apple does something you don't like, you just gotta suck it up. You gotta suck it up, and you gonna pay a exorbitant amount. You gonna pay the price for it because they ain't cheap for a product that you don't even like. So yeah, having competition on your platform is good. And also I'm gonna tell you this, if Apple was more competitive friendly or competition friendly on their platform, and they allowed different things, they didn't shut down your phone if you try to switch and all that other stuff like that, I probably would have an iPad, because that's the main reason I rock with Android, because of freedom. If somebody does this, I can go over here. Somebody do something over here, I can go over there. I can go over here, I can go over there, I can go over there. I have freedom. See, y'all ain't got no freedom. Y'all just stuck. If Apple do something y'all don't like, y'all just stuck with it because y'all got all of those Apple products that only work with Apple products. There's pros and cons to the thing. So that is the reason why I don't Apple. So anyway, leave your comments down below. I know a lot of people gonna have a lot of stuff to say. Leave it all down below. We could talk about it. But anyway, I'll holler at y'all next time. Believe that.